of U equals me is stated as a movement of conscientious objectors to intolerance, or simply stated, a movement against intolerance. And the exploration of that statement really gets to what are the similarities between people? What do we all have in common? Why are we really equal as humankind? And that's what we're going to explore.
This podcast is about exploring conversational thoughts and interviews with extraordinary people living ordinary lives of well-being. Discussions on exactly what well-being means to people day to day, factors that can influence it both internally and externally. We glean insights on how to survive and thrive in feeling satisfied in life with a greater sense of purpose. Guest hosts bring fresh new outlooks and opinions from spirituality, science, worldviews, and standing up and speaking out for what's right.
It's pretty interesting. Man needs each other and planet Earth to survive. Check it out. I think you'll like what you hear.
Hello and welcome to our U equals me podcast. I want to thank our friends and family from around the world for listening. I'm your host, Cindy Jarvis, founder of the U equals me Foundation, located in Seattle, Washington. U equals me is the recognition of humanity as a whole. Unity is the state of being united or joined for a richer, more rewarding life experience. Not in the power of one, but in the power of many. We can make a difference in the world by recognizing and celebrating our authenticity. Unity brings fairness, integrity, and honor to all human beings, regardless of race, religion, culture, and gender. To bring honor to all human beings, we need to confront a silent global atrocity, human trafficking. Today we have a special opportunity to speak to Cet Vie, an expert on this subject. Welcome, Cet Vie.
Hi, Cindy.
Thanks for coming. Tell us about yourself.
Alors, I'm Cet Vie. I write and I blog. I write on many subjects, but mainly on the subject of human rights. I'd say the three main subjects I write on is censorship in China, which is very, very crucial to know about because the Chinese cannot access the internet, basically. Of course, Chinese internet, but outside China, internet is massively censored. Not everything.
Right. Yeah, lots of censorship. Yeah.
A lot of censorship. And within China, of course, you cannot criticize the party. You cannot criticize their leaders. And there's so many political prisoners. And in China, just as a note as well, please check on the internet and please Google it to make sure it's true, because it's not absolutely not fake news.
Right.
They do organ trafficking on prisoner of conscience. Yeah. So
I saw that.
The Australian, for example, the Australian media, prove it this way is that in China, is the only, it's not the only country because there's organ trafficking in the Middle East and so forth. But there, you say you need an organ, and you know that 6 months after you have it. And,
right.
And it's done on prisoners, basically, at least yes, in an official manner. This as well you can
right.
check. It's
right.
It's not.
No, it's not fake news, and I know that there are a lot of citizens that disappear in China. They just disappear.
From what I know, one we have we've kind of a view through media of China that is, booming and very rich and so forth. these are the very the center of towns of our big cities. As soon as you go outside, then you see the poverty, yeah? And it's like without electricity, even without water and things like this, and without, when there's one single party, and they at least they should make sure they care for this kind of services. But for example, in so many quarters, rubbish are not
Not clean water, right?
Yeah.
There's rubbish everywhere. No clean water.
Yeah, pollution. All the recycling done without absolutely no safety, and yes, so
No safety.
like you say,
animal byproducts and left on streets and restaurants, and it's outside. Yeah. I've not been to China, but I know that the censorship is crippling, actually, and anybody complaining or anybody trying to speak out about it will be thrown in prison. And you're saying that even they're taking the prisoners and selling their organs.
Yes, complaining in China is suicidal, because everything is to do with the state. So, I think that without the state, without a strong state, we are done, because you need some kind of authority to say no, you can't hurt your neighbor, you can't pollute just like you want. You need someone to
sanction.
Make sure, to sanction, and to make sure that relations are equal and harmonious and things like this. But the side effect is you find this monstrous state. To say anything against the party and against the leader it means prison. I mean, academics have been put in prison. What they do, so they take them after, it's like maybe after 6 months they can call someone of their family. So yes, they disappear, and they reappear as well. But when it comes with human organ trafficking, is with maybe more what are minorities
or immigrants,
for example,
yes.
The Falun sect. They are kind of a group of people who are doing some kind of Tai Chi and so forth, but they live a quite healthy life, and this is completely suppressed. It's a group they completely suppressed in China, and apparently they harvest on these people because they are healthy. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, today that you have so many interesting things that you are championing that we'll definitely have you back to discuss. You also, well, with your blog, you have links to free literature that you've written on human rights, political issues, egalitarianism, well-being, spirituality, veganism, environmentalism, and the LGBTQ community as well. So you've got lots that you're working on. But today, let's shed some light on some practices that are going on around the globe in the the human sex trafficking. What's your work there?
I've written for university for my MA degree on it, and all my BA degree was, not all, but many of my modules I worked on gender rights, and so this is kind of a few years ago, and I wanted to do something with this because one of what I first worked on was child marriage. And it's for example child marriage like condole embedded push facilitated by religious practices, for example. And the reason why I want to campaign about that is that people don't know. So it's why you need a campaign of awareness at one point, is because people are completely oblivious to the fact that child marriages might be in fact prompted officially by religious leaders. So
Yes.
So I restarted the campaigning again, and doing this, realizing that, for example, 25% of modern slavery today are children. So it's 1 in 4.
Wow.
There's 4 million people are victims of modern slavery today. 4 million people. This is, figures from the United Nations. So you can be sure they are very conservative figure, but
Right.
the NGO working on that, they will say, really, it is more people than this. But just with conservative figure like UN figures is 40 million, and 1 in 4 is our children, and out of these 1 in 4, you've got 80% of children that are sexually exploited.
Yeah.
80% of them is sexual exploitation.
Yeah. And that's what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that those numbers are as high as they are. But through your investigative work, you write about Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, who married a 6-year-old. So because of the marriages, they're preaching the sanctity of child marriages for pedophilia as a result. And business leaders and community people are okay with this, I suppose.
Yeah, it's
in some areas.
I can't explain it. You can't explain that because you think that at one point you're gonna come with this, and someone will do something about it. And when you try to contact even the most specialized organization, they've got a trump card. It is the religious card. I even try to petition the government with it, because to start a petition trying to raise awareness, directly to the government and the parliament and so forth. And they answer just this is religious matter. It is not something you can petition, because it is part of the religion, and you've got religious freedom, and we have to be very careful, by the way, because even if on radio, on national media, you've got issues it's not very much talked about, nothing, but in their 5-minute speaking about nothing much, you can see that there is a religious freedom that could come more and more overing being stronger than individual rights. and this is the perfect example, is knowing that in religious practices, and this is not because, for example, there is people that will tell you, oh, but in Catholic religion, they've got awful things in the Bible too, and it's true. Bon, me, I'm not theologian, so I can't say, but people spend their time. When you tackle this subject and they want to answer something, but without making sure they won't engage with you, that they won't do anything. Yeah, they are arrogant enough to say, well, in other religions it is true also, and what you find out is. This is not anyone in the religion, is the prophet of the Islamic religion. Is in of course, this is the nature of text. Nature of text is that you can translate and you
Correct.
can interpret the way you want. But
so I am not concerned about the text in themselves. What I'm concerned about, because there is, and I met a Muslim that will say, no, it's in fact, it's a numerology, like in the Bible as well. They do a lot of things, but they reinterpret text using numerology and so forth. And yeah, no, it has been miscalculated. The year is not that one, is 10 years after. And so there is a very small fraction of people saying, no, don't worry, these texts are not like this. This text, in fact, they marry and she was 18 already. Yes. Oh, I even met someone and I thank them for that, because they told me, no, but you know what? In fact, marriage at the time was the only way you could give protection. So basically, you can interpret it, you could interpret it, or in fact, if they don't even consummate the marriage is just you take a woman under your protection. And it's nothing to do with consuming and so forth. But so this is not what I want to enter the discussion around text, because there are it's endless discussion. The core of it is that there is millions. There is literally millions of people saying, look, the prophet married he married 4 women. So it means that it's a polygamous system. Yeah.
First of all, he married 4 women, and the 4th one was the most commonly interpreted version is that it was a child of from the beginning. He has been given from the age of 0. His follower say, I want you to marry my child. At 6, they had a ceremony for the wedding.
At 6 years old.
Yes. And when she was 9, it was consummated. But what it means here, it's not about the story. There's 1,500 years ago.
Exactly.
It is not that. Is that millions of people will tell you that it's more than a model. It's like the thing that millions of people will tell that is more than a model. It's a religious thing. Is to respect God. You've got to follow these quote unquote traditions.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's the perfect tool for pedophiles.
Right. It is
And
perfect.
worse than pedophilia, because pedophilia is seen as something that you need to criminalize. This is yes. So
Well, that's interesting because we know that here in the United States, even, and Europe too, I'm sure,
or,
we have Catholic
or you
priests. Yeah, we have Catholic priests that have assaulted altar boys and other small children, and they're not being held accountable. They're not imprisoned for it. Why not?
this is the effect of very repressive society.
Yeah.
When people start having children, to marry them, to make sure the society or communities are happy with it. So everything is becoming good, and you have hatred of anything else. I mean, I can't even start about homophobia and so forth.
Yeah.
These people don't live really. Yeah? They are. What is a reality in America and today and now? Please check, because it's the new thing I'm campaigning about, because I research a lot. I used to research the Pacific and Asia and
Mm-hmm.
little bit Africa. In fact, the poor countries, and where I think people already knew about this, because basically it's the 40, 50-year-old generation. They knew already about sex tourism.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of knew that people were going in, so this was mainly middle class European or American, who were going to Brazil and the Pacific Islands and
Thailand.
Thailand
Yeah.
and Cambodia and for sex tourism, yeah. And here, well, you and people in extreme poverty, but the figure in the US are absolutely aberrant.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one again. It's a state figure. It's figures that are produced by the states, the
Mm-hmm.
department, and they conclude that up to 300,000 Americans, 300,000 Americans
Mm-hmm.
under 18, the
Mm-hmm.
children,
Yeah.
kids under 18 are at risk of sexual exploitation every year.
Yeah. I believe.
300,000.
Yeah, we know that, Savi, because of the Me Too movement, and people our age coming out saying, yeah, that happened to me too. I know that I did look up a little bit about what we're talking about, and I found that 1 in 9 girls are under the age of 18 experience sexual abuse or assault, and 1 in 53 boys. And I don't know how accurate this is, but 82% of all victims are female, under 18, 82%. So, and this idea of sexual tourism. I think if people want to exchange and work in the sex industry, I think that's fine. If if you consent to that, somebody else consents to that, but that's not what's happening. They're taking children, and you said dowries. Children are sold for a dowry, especially in India, poor parts of India and other parts of the world.
Yes, in fact, so yes, for the dowry system, but so that is created, facilitated so much exploitation, sexual exploitation. In fact, because, for example, in China again, they kill baby. For example, when they know it's a girl, they terminate the pregnancy and so forth. Because in this kind of tradition, having a girl is expensive for the family. And with the dowry system, this is a very, very big problem, because instead of keeping your land and bring about some capital through marriage, is the opposite. You have to give away your daughter with money. And what they do in India, so the peasants are so impoverished people that all that they need in order for their daughters to have a life, to be able to have a life
To live,
on her
yeah.
own, is to work. If she can't marry, if it's difficult to marry, and we all know. I think it's clear that work and unemployment is at the center all it all, because when of course the primary targets are migrant people.
Because, I read that.
It's and this is in Europe as well. In Europe, in Turkey, in every country where international or regional
borders, yeah,
migration occurs, then these people they've just lost a home. They've got to travel. Their
lost
family
their home.
might be
they have nothing.
If the family might be in situation of being threatened directly, because there is a lot of questions. But look, why you are intelligent? You are an intelligent woman. You've been educated in your country, and then you how come you didn't decide to come to the police? Saying that, okay, it's in country in Europe, for example, where hopefully the police will help you. But
right.
they need often they need proof of what you are saying before sheltering you and give you special protection and so forth. The moment you are back in the street, these people are likely to find you. But one of the reason why these women endure that for years and years to repay smuggling and so forth is because these criminals, the traffickers, have the possibility of harming their families.
Right. Of harming them.
The traffic.
Yeah.
Completely.
Absolutely.
That, because the smugglers and the human traffickers are in fact mostly very, very organized crime.
They are very organized. Yes.
So they control the destination and where you are from and where they are smuggled, where they are. So it's why, because
I was just going to say go ahead, Savi.
They are threatened this way.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're afraid.
in Europe, not talking about India any longer, because India is so. I mean, it's so horrid. What happened is that basically also there is one thing that in criminology is that when you are the victim of a crime, whatever it is, rape, or whatever it is, trafficking, it's often by people you already know.
Mm-hmm. I read
So
that in your
even
blog.
yeah. So for rape, for rape, yes, it's gonna be your the neighbor, or it's gonna be someone near a member of a family, or someone you know at work, and so forth.
Yeah.
It's rarely someone out of the blue. Obviously, someone by you used to be in a relationship, and so in India and so forth, even if you've got these guys, they are coming and they say, "Oh, look, we've got work for your daughter, and there's good wages and so forth," and people that don't know. One, there's the possibility where you don't know, and you go for it just because you need money. So of course you go for it, even if you go for, I don't know, you go for to work in a bar, or to work as a nanny, and so
Uh-huh.
forth, and
And
they
then
end up in
you end
trap.
up in a
Yeah,
trap.
and you end up and
Uh-huh.
what is absolutely unbelievable in India, because it is called a democracy and so forth. This as well, you can check.
Well,
It's really documented on the
yeah.
internet. Is that what they call red quarters? In fact, many of them are some places where women cannot go out of it.
They cannot
They are
escape.
No, it's pure slavery. They
Yeah.
can't get out.
Yes.
But you
You
can
know,
see the mafia is everywhere, basically.
the mafia is everywhere.
Mm.
Yeah. Here in the US, we just had a major problem in this last presidency at our Mexico border, where thousands of kids were taken from their parents. And the US government has promised to return them. Why they were taken in the first place, I think, is criminal, because it's kidnapping.
Mm.
But there's so many children missing. Where are they? The United States has lost track of them. They don't know where they went. Hundreds of children here in the US. We need to find those kids.
Yeah, is the documentation problem. A kid is a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know, we all have the experience of being kids, and your memory is completely fragmented. Also, you've got a problem with parents,
Yeah.
because if parents are kicked out of a country after that, and I don't know this subject. Just, of course, I read about it a little bit, but I'd say that the condition the parents are in. So to make it in parallel with trafficking, because is what is that I know about the figure, is that the moment you are in traffic, but the problem is that when you are a refugee, or when you try to have a refugee status, and then you are migrants and so forth, your life is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Just a nightmare. You stop having hygiene, you stop having heating, you stop
Yeah.
having a proper food. You have
wow.
to do. We actually don't know what to survive and so forth. So your life expectancy is shattered, and
Right.
also maybe I don't. Yeah, it's absolutely criminal, just like
It
you
is
said,
criminal.
to have separated parents and kids. On top of it, knowing our I mean, if it was, oh yes, look, we look after your kid to make sure,
The
they are
child
well.
is safe.
but in fact, it is not the case. I mean, God
Yeah.
knows.
Well, it's people like you that are journaling and blogging and keep talking about this problem, because we certainly don't see it in the news, in the media, like this is a major problem, and we very seldom hear about it in the
It's
news or the media
astonishing. Yeah,
for the reasons that
it's
you've stated.
astonishing.
It is
It's
astonishing.
astonishing, but you are right in saying that at least it's somewhere. But in fact, it's in the media because thanks God it's in the media. I mean, because if not, we would say that, if it was only NGOs, even if it were only NGOs who were producing this figure, producing these stories and life experience and so forth, people who wonder. I mean, and they would be right to say so, because you need proof. In fact, it's in the media. Yeah, there is media and there is journalists that are covering
Reporting.
it, but the mass media, no, the
Not
mass
enough.
media do not. But I guess we are saying here what is happening in complete monopoly of the press. I think it's like is the only conclusion that you can reach is that there is absolutely not freedom of the press. And of course, thanks God again, there's still a little bit of independence. Journalists that are paid to investigate, and also there's, as I told you, there are government figures that say, okay, we admit there is that much of this problem. Even in Europe, I mean, because Europe is more protected. Yes, there is there has been and there is still like thousands of children disappearing. Migrants, the migrants are disappearing because they are traveling on their own, and where they are, we don't know.
Right.
Of course, they might be at sea and so forth. They stop in Turkey and Greece or in Africa. Very, very, very dangerous places at some point. So, for example, when Murdoch, who is
The big
boss
press.
in the UK, in
Murdoch,
Australia,
yes.
but is but on the press in some places. He just owns it, yeah. And
Yes.
what you know about this guy is that, for example, he's a climate change denier.
He is a denier.
What do you want? He denies that climate change is happening.
Yeah.
What
of
do you
course.
want to do with a boss that the problem here, I think, is through blogs and so forth. The information doesn't go through. It don't go through. I mean, I've been campaigning on and off. I've been campaigning for 10 years, on and off. But now it's been years. It's on and on and on. Yeah. To be honest, you don't go nowhere. Yes, you manage to reach a few people because you share on. But for example, the perfect example is on Facebook. One of the good examples is on Facebook. You are kind of allowed to exchange information with people that are already in your group, so that they know about this topic and so forth. If you exchange too much, your account is gonna be terminated. So basically, in many basically what we end up doing often is to preaching to the choir. and the information to be dispatched, it's very,
It's a
very, very
challenge.
complicated.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
challenge. Well, I don't think we're
And
preaching to the choir. I think we need to keep having these conversations and getting more people, just bringing awareness to more people. That's our goal. That's our goal today.
Oh yeah. But you know how they killed awareness campaign, because it's what they did it's almost 3 years ago with preserving data. And it's good because me personally, I don't want to open my inbox and find 100 email trying to con me if I click on a link, or trying to sell me some merchandise and so forth.
Yeah.
Yes. So
The hacking.
everyone agreed on that. Yeah. The problem is that now, if you are an organization trying to bring awareness on these issues, and if you get you cannot email people any longer.
Right.
The only way you can find maybe trying to bring awareness is gonna not being by your sweat, is gonna be by paying advert.
Paying a debt.
It's gonna be by paying advert, by paying Google, who will find an algorithm to make sure you are at the bottom of the list, because also we will start having very, very severe problem of democracy because of it's these big guys like Facebook, Google, Microsoft,
Right,
and
that control the media. Yeah.
That control absolutely the media for one. You're right, and that doesn't even pay taxes, and that make sure that you have, they kind of can make sure that you have to pay them to do your normal job, basically. And and are we gonna yes, it's gonna be pay. You want to raise awareness, but you have to pay the big guys, like is gonna end up stifling the whole things in any case. The reason why people battling human trafficking and things, they think that is so much of a lost battle at the moment.
Right, man's inhumanity to man.
Oh yeah, I think it's more than inhumanity, to be honest. But because inhumanity maybe you can find something neutral about that. This is no neutral. This is, I think,
good point. Good point. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean
the
to
sex
interrupt
industry,
you.
in fact. It's not at all. Is a sex industry. Because the official way sex traffickers can lobby the state is through pornography, because pornography is legal.
Right.
And pornography is a billion industry. It's $1
billion dollar industry. Yeah.
Yeah. And and you see, when you say well, I'm not sex work and okay, consent and so forth, but the problem is that one reason we are in a big very morbid place is that the trafficking is fueling by unemployment. So these people that don't get no choice, the only opportunity they will be given is this. And also the one reason it doesn't work like this is because is because, for example, the figure involving children prove it. Yeah, 25% of modern slaves are children.
20%.
20 or 25, depending. Figures are kind of changing because, of course, it's criminal matters, and what is criminal is what has been hidden and so forth. So you're right, is 1 in 4 or 1 in 5, depending the sources. But 80% of them are sexual slave. Also, since 2017, child marriage has been included.
Oh, it's been
because
included.
If you are,
yes.
Included, yeah. If you are a child, if you have been married as a child, you are considered, you are regarded as a sexual slave. Incorporating to the UN figures, which is right. It was high time.
Yeah, we need to find some of those people and talk to them now that they're adults.
It's there is in poor countries in Africa and in Asia is very, very rampant. Very, very rampant. It's like so it will depend the percentage, but is kind of, maybe not the majority, will depend of plus hopefully this way maybe it's improving a little bit, but it's a massive amount. Is more kind of looking towards 50% of the girl population that are married before 18.
Wow.
And as well, when you know that they are married before 18, they are not married to young males.
Right, they're married to older.
Mostly they are married with old males.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think we need to keep talking about this. I mean, what can be done to stop it?
But it's right. There's also a big problem with the sex industry is that for one, the sex industry has been glamorized.
I
is
agree.
That you are on TV, on magazine, and even on the radio by academics and so forth. They will tell you, on the radio, on the BBC, you had someone in Leicester University saying, we've now our students do sex work, yeah. And so we have to give them advice on how to manage their time. It was almost what she was saying. But what she was saying is that recognizing sex work as normal type of revenue for a student, and moreover because of coronavirus now, because there is no other job. And when you think that these academics support this in their discourses, while the reason why students might do that is that the fees are becoming completely unaffordable, yeah. And it's the same people that will write tons of books about ethics and all, yeah. And what is really happening in sex industry is that, one, we know that there is a big tendency in the pornography industry. It's most of female represented are very young, very young people.
Yeah.
And they are made to look very young, or they are very young, and in fact, there also many cases in on website, because there's a lot of problem now emerging online, where picture you can be adamant, and it's not on the darknet, it's on the net. It's not on the darknet.
It's not on the darknet. It's on the internet.
Anyone can find that. If they want to look for pornography with someone with clearly below 18, it's one click away. And so how do they do that? They create this. They create this. How they traffic children is also with the massive unemployment problem in the US, but also drug problem, an addiction problem. So basically, they are predating on people that are socially fragile, or that are financially fragile, and they are targeting their kids. Because to have someone ready for the sex industry at 18, and in any case at 18, you are still a kid,
right?
I mean, we've proved scientifically, it is proved the brain is fully developed not until you are 21.
Right, not fully
18,
developed.
you are a baby.
Right. Yeah.
And to make sure that basically they create opportunity to predate again against youth. The opportunity you just can drug. You make sure they don't have a good education. You make sure that their mother, if it's a single parent family, just struggle on and on. You make sure that schools become less secure.
On and on. Just keep suppressing women. Just keep suppressing. Well, I can't believe we're already at 52 minutes, Cet Vie. Thank you so much for sharing your information today, so we can educate people about preventing sexual abuse and violence towards women and children. We're so honored to have you as a guest today. How can, Cet Vie, how can people find you? How can they find your blogs?
Alors, my blog is in the name of HUMANRIGHTS.com.
info@humanrights.com? Or in the name of Human Rights.
In the name of Human Rights.
In the name of humanrights.com. I've spent a few hours on it. It's a fabulous site. So many interesting topics that you've written about and that you have researched. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on today, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you, me too.
Thank you, One Worlders, for listening today. You can find Cet Vie at In the Name of Human Rights. We'll have show notes for information on how to get a hold of her. And thanks again for listening. Thank you for giving us your time. Please share this podcast to further our global mission of compassion and equality. For those who wish to support the U Equals Me Foundation, your tax-deductible purchases of U Equals Me logo-wear can be found at uequalsme.org or U Equals Me Etsy store, all one word in your Google search. For a complimentary copy of our ebook, Wisdom Along the Way, a book of notes and quotes, you can join our One Worlders group email list at uequalsme.org. Links will be in the show notes. Much love around the world. Be safe, be kind, be you.